We're introducing articles of impeachment to remove President Trump from office. We have taken this action because of great concern for our country and our Constitution, our national security, and our democracy.
That was Memphis Congressman Steve Cohen explaining why he and 5 other House Democrats have introduced articles of impeachment against Donald Trump. They're calling for hearings. The 5 articles allege the following of the president: obstructed justice in the FBI investigation into Russian meddling in the presidential election, accepted without the consent of Congress, emoluments from foreign states and from the U.S. government, with his real estate empire, undermine the federal judiciary and the freedom of the press. The congressmen say it will be an uphill battle to get Republican control of the House to hold hearings. No shock there. A spokesman for the Republican National Committee called the move, quote, a baseless radical effort. Joining us right now is Houston Congressman Al Green. Congressman, part of the issue you have here is you have your own Democrats who don't want you talking about this here. Nancy Pelosi says, look, we're not trying to pursue this.
Well, this is not about any given Democrat. It's about democracy. It's not about Republicans. It's about the Republic. And whether people would like to talk about it or not, before Christmas, there will be an opportunity afforded each member of Congress to vote on the issue. We plan to bring the articles to the floor by way of a privileged resolution. And when they're brought to the floor, they can be tabled. There can be a motion to table, there can be a motion to send to committee, or they can be voted up or down. But either way, there will be a motion made and there will be a vote.
Why do you believe this is not a waste of time?
Well, I think that a good many people assume that because you can't do it all in one fell swoop, that you're wasting your time. But Rosa Parks didn't waste her time when she took that seat on that bus in a racist southern town. You have to have a spark. One match can start a blaze. So you have to start someplace, and you never know what the end result will be. Here's what I guarantee people. There will be at least one person who is going to vote such that he would want the president impeached, and that will be me.
When you look at how this president is behaving, you look at Jeff Sessions, who just testified for Congress. Trump has been putting pressure on him to investigate Hillary Clinton when it comes to this uranium deal, which has been totally debunked left and right. And Sessions is fighting it off so far. Do you believe this is a president who desperately wants to completely control DOJ and to use it to go after his political opponents?
Well, I go beyond what you just said. I think this is a president who, but for persons of goodwill and integrity, would become a dictator. He clearly believes that he is in charge of everything. When you fire the person who's investigating you because the person's investigating you, that's an impeachable act. And that is something that the Judiciary Committee should take up, which is why Mr. Cohen has filed his articles of impeachment. By the way, these are not the only articles that have been filed. Others have been filed as well. The momentum is building. At some point, there will be a vote.
Well, Congressman, I want to piggyback on what Roland said. Let's say you go through the process. Let's say it's voted down or it's tabled, right? What have you achieved, and what are the next steps after that? I understand the messaging, but what next? Because it may not be a waste of time, but where do you go from there, and what message are you sending?
Well, before we get to the revelations, let's go to Genesis. The genesis of this is the hate that the president incites in this country. A member was called wacky. The president goes back to the White House after he says this, but that member has to go home. She has to have additional protection. He incites people to do ugly things to other people. This resolution that I will bring will be about the hate that the president engenders, that he perpetrates and perpetuates to a certain extent. I do this because there's always a reason to go to some agenda other than the hate agenda in this country. We'll deal with it temporarily. People can oppose it. I want to eliminate it. So this is the genesis of making sure Congress goes on record as it relates to the hate agenda that continually manifests itself by way of this president, by the way, who has this alt-right hate machine out there that he has to continually feed.
Congressman, I'm an economist, so I like to follow the money.
Let's do it.
The emoluments is the thing that I think is the most substantial, the extent to which people are, even this new Bible Museum is now having their gala at the Trump Hotel, which is saying something very interesting about the Bible Museum. But have you all been able to get detail on the dollars that have flown into the Trump empire, if you will, because of his international relationships and because of any number of things? his sons are doing Trump business with U.S. protection, civil service, Secret Service protection. That's costing us money. I'd like to see, I mean, I think what you're doing is great. I don't know what's going to turn out, but I really like to see some numbers attached to the emoluments thing to really talk about how much this arrogance, hatred, et cetera, is costing us.
2 points. The first is emoluments do have their roots in money. You're absolutely correct. And there are many who contend that the Trump administration is really a family business at being operated out of the White House. This is something that causes a good many people consternation. And credible organizations have come up with numbers that they would affix to the behavior that's taking place in the White House. But the Judiciary Committee has refused to budge on this. The Judiciary Committee would outsource an investigation to Comey, excuse me, not Comey now, but Mueller. I pronounce it Mueller most of the time, but to Mueller, would outsource it to Mueller as opposed to taking it up themselves. This is why Cohen filed his articles, because he wants to encourage the Judiciary Committee to do its job.
So, okay, the articles that you filed, clearly you have your reasons and your thought and your rationale behind doing it. If there's not a clear path forward, are you not just using this as a way to gain the opportunity to show that you don't like the president? I mean, presidents, there's never been a president, or at least not in recent history, that hasn't had somebody that was displeased or groups of somebody that was displeased and stuff filed against him. What makes this different? What makes this president? I mean, are you doing this to actually have it move?
Yes, absolutely.
Or to be on the group that just does it?
Completely, and I say this without hesitation, reservation, or equivocation. Absolutely wanted to see it move. Here's why this president is different. I've not heard of another president who has said those were some very nice people among those persons who were Nazis, white supremacists, persons who were engaged in xenophobia, persons who dealt with ethnocentrism. I've not heard another president say that. I've not heard another president go on national TV and call the mothers of professional athletes dogs, an SOB. The B is a dog. We've not had a president to do this. This president has used public discourse to frame issues such that people are put at risk by virtue of simply saying, I think that the president should be impeached. We've had to hire a man who sits in my office with a uniform and a gun to protect my staff when I'm away. I'm not there in Houston, Texas. My point is, he is unlike any other president. Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution was developed for a president such as this and a time such as this, and we have to act.
All right, Congressman Al Green, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh, my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no.
That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.